What's going on, guys? We're going to get rolling in a few moments here. Just going to wait till people get signed in and online. hmm Very serious tones here in the background. It shows ambient music today. So see how it goes. It's a very, really doing some deep stuff here. All right, cool. So, welcome to 10-Minute Reset. I am Tyler LaFlock. So, if you're not familiar with 10-Minute Reset, it is a better way to break up your day. Scrolling on your phone is not restorative. And if in the second half of your day you are noticing brain fog, less clarity, have to reach for coffee, something's off. So, during 10-Minute Reset, we utilize movement, breath, journaling to help downregulate the nervous system, recenter so you can perform at your highest level or much better than maybe you previously would in the second half of your day. So, we are going to dive in today doing a little bit of breath work followed by some journaling. So, go ahead and find a seated position. I'm going to use the cushion, but if you are seated in a chair, what I'd like you to do is come to the forward part of your chair because we're going to focus on this grounding down first because that really is the foundation for so much of this is this ability to kind of ground down and connect. So, what I focus if I'm in a seated position here is like my weight is slightly forward. I'm pressing down through the sits bones, right? My posture is good, shoulders back, heart is lifted, rib cage slightly down. Imagine like a string being pulled up through the top of the crown, and that's my position. So if you're in this position here, which a lot of the times we are, the flow of energy is just going to be kind of stuck, and we're also going to be taking like, what does it say about your posture energetically? What are you transmitting if you're holding these positions? So if we want more freedom, if we want more calm, if we want more clarity, it's starting by taking the posture of what that looks like. So might be pulling your shoulders back, slightly lifting your sternum, pressing your weight down to the floor, connecting with the earth, feeling that support. So that's why we start there. Now from here, just go ahead and close your eyes, and you're going to close your mouth as well. And we're just going to breathe through our nose, nice and quiet. You shouldn't even, that was even a little loud for me. You shouldn't even be able to hear, especially on the inhale, you shouldn't be able to hear your breath. That's how quietly I'd like you to breathe in throughout the nose. And with your eyes closed, just beginning to scan the body, simply noticing. And notice if you can, be in the sensation, right? So you feel the sensation. Maybe it's some tightness in your chest. Maybe it's some um, tightness in your shoulder or neck, right? See if you can feel the sensation and also observe the sensation. So, if you're familiar with any type of meditation, a big part of that is developing this concept or this feeling of being the observer of you. So, as you're doing this scan, see if you can be both in the sensation, feeling the sensation, as well observing yourself feeling that sensation. I know it's a little esoteric, but just see if you can kind of start to feel into that and see what that feels like and what that does. Still keeping your breath nice and quiet. And just allowing that to come to an end. And if you haven't already, just go ahead and grab your journal, and I'll give you a moment to do that or something to write with. And today we're going to be focusing on this idea of intuition or harnessing intuition. So I imagine most of us have the feeling of what it is to get an intuitive hit, where a lot of times we're conditioned thought patterns coming from the mind. An intuitive hit is almost like a gut feel, right? And it's much more in the body. So, one of the reasons we focus on that observer kind of element is for me, intuition to get better adept is to develop that observer, right? Because if we're so in our emotions, so in that, uh, basically being a human being in our head, thoughts, all that conditioned patterning, it's hard to be able to step out of that paradigm to be able to harness that intuition. So, one thing around harnessing intuition is this idea of a higher self. So, just go ahead and write the question: what or who is my higher self? And we're just going to spend a few minutes jotting down. And what I want you to take note of is first off, when you're connected with your higher self, what are some of the characteristics of that place? How does it feel in the body? What are the sensation? What does it do to your body when you begin to connect with your higher self? And if you've never heard of this concept before, just begin to pretend if you are operating from conditioned patterns of thinking, thought loops, right? Where does your higher self operate from, right? Where your lower self may be operating out of fear, the higher self operates out of love, desire, a more generative drive to build, to help. So let's just get all the characteristics, thoughts, habits of your higher self and just stream of consciousness, thoughts, behaviors, patterns of your higher self. Go for it. All right. So we've got another minute or two here, but here I'll just give you a quick, if you're struggling here, always just get the pen moving. That always helps. And here's some things I put. So it doesn't need anything or validation from others. It walks with ease and grace. Its nervous system is relaxed. It's in flow. There isn't a feeling of having to figure it out. It's trusting, confident. It knows its value. It serves from a genuine place to help others. And it knows together we rise. So I'm going to continue to journal, but that for me is beginning to connect with that higher self, which then all of those attributes can begin to help us unlock our intuition. So let's spend another about 90 seconds here, just getting familiar with that idea, that concept, that feeling. And just go ahead and finish out that last thought. And good. So, harnessing intuition, that breath is going to be a big ally. So, if you breathe through the nose silently in and out, keep it to a count of 5 in, 5 out. That'll really help downregulate the nervous system, which then gives you better access to intuition. Having this idea of a lower self held by fear and a higher self led by love, that's a good dynamic because you can begin to pick out when you're operating out of fear and when you're operating out of love. Not that one Neither one is better than the other, but I will say one does leave a little bit of a toxic residue operating out of fear. But it's a great, great motivator in the beginning. But you ultimately, in my opinion, want to switch over to that more generative drive. That's something we may dive into on later 10-minute resets. And I want to just you to recognize how you feel now, taking that time for yourself to calm the nervous system, spend some time rather than scrolling, getting a little bit of introspective, connecting with that higher self. Just notice how you feel in your body as compared to where you were 10 minutes ago. And that's really the whole idea around 10-minute reset. I really appreciate you joining me today. Once again, I am Tyler LaFlock. Make sure you continue to follow along on 10-minute reset. And if you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I love to serve. That's what my higher self loves to do is serve, help, guide others to live more from their hearts, live more down-regulated, relax, and flow. Um, and yeah, so there's more love in this world. Appreciate you once again, and I'll see you next week.